the motion be agreed to? Those of that opinion will say aye. To the contrary, no. The ayes have it. Question number 1 in the name of David Bennett.
Thank you, Mr Speaker.
David Bennett. Point of order. The Honourable Trevor Miller.
I just wondered whether, notwithstanding the fact that we're in urgency, the Leader of the House might like to share with the House his plans for next week, which is a normal practice.
Question number 1, David Bennett.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. My question is to the Minister of Finance. What are the advantages of using proceeds from selling minority shareholdings in energy companies to buy new public assets instead of borrowing that money from overseas lenders?
Mr Speaker.
Honourable Bill English.
Very significant advantages, Mr Speaker. In the case of the share sales program, the government is swapping one asset, that is a minority stake in an energy company, which it can only hold and collect dividends, for another asset, which is cash, which it can use for all sorts of purposes. Over the entire program, we expect to free up between $5 and $7 billion of cash as a replacement for the asset that we are selling. This will be invested in schools, hospitals, irrigation schemes, the rebuild of Christchurch and other infrastructure projects. The alternative is to borrow the money from overseas bankers rather than get it from New Zealand savers.
Supplementary question.
Supplementary question, David Bennett.
How are proceeds from the share sale program being allocated to reinvest in other priority public assets?
Order. The level of interjection coming from this side of the House is excessive. Would it please be toned
Mr Speaker,
down?
the government has set up the Future Investment Fund. The money going into that fund comes from mainly New Zealand savers who have had the opportunity and chosen to invest in large New Zealand companies. The opposition despise them for this, but we think it's good for the country. And the Future Investment Fund will show transparently where that money is going. And it is going to other public assets.
Supplementary question.
Supplementary question, David Bennett.
What investments in new public assets has the government so far confirmed will be made from the Future Investment Fund using proceeds from the share offer program?
Honourable Bill English.
Well, Mr Speaker, as the opposition have pointed out, it's amazing just how many new public assets you can procure. Last year's budget allocated $33.8 million for modernising schools, $250 million towards the Kiwi Rail turnaround plan, $88 million for health sector capital, and $76 million for the new Advanced Technology Institute. This year's budget allocated $426 million for the Christchurch and Burwood hospitals, $50 million to speed up the school network upgrade project, $94 million for the fourth year of the Kiwi Rail turnaround plan, $80 million for irrigation projects, $700 million in contingencies for projects such as new schools in Christchurch, Christchurch's Justice and Emergency Services precinct, and supporting Canterbury's tertiary institutions to recover from the earthquake. The government also agreed that over the life of the fund, $1 billion will be allocated to other health capital projects.
Supplementary.
Order. I think I have a point of order. The Right Honourable Winston Peters.
I'm seeking leave for an extension of time so the Minister can outline the other 100 projects the money's going on as well.
Order. And that is not a helpful point of order. Supplementary question, the Honourable Clayton Cosgrove.
To the Minister, does he stand by his statement yesterday that the forecast $5 to $7 billion raised from asset sales will pay for, quote, almost all of those promises, unquote, including Kiwi Bank irrigation schemes, schools and hospitals, the rebuilding of Christchurch, Kiwi Rail, paying down government debt and building the City Rail Link, which totals up to a grand total of $84 billion? If so, does he agree that asset sales cash is the National Party's version of printing money?
Honourable Bill English.
Well, Mr. Speaker, no, I disagree with that, and it just shows how little respect the Labor Party has for New Zealand savers. We didn't print the money; they saved it from their hard-earned weekly wages and decided to invest in it. And if the Labor Party can't tell the difference between that and the Greens' mad scheme to print money, they will never be the government.
Supplementary question, David Bennett.
How does New Zealand's approach...
Order. I have a point of order from Honourable...
Point of order. Given the noise, sir, I just want it confirmed. Is the Minister disagreeing with the statement he made yesterday?
Order. If the Minister listened, he said he disagreed with that right at the start. Well, I could hear it on this occasion. David Bennett,
supplementary question. How does New Zealand's approach to investing in new public assets while limiting extra debt compare with approaches in other countries?
Honourable Bill English.
Well, Mr. Speaker,
order.
While some regard this idea as extreme, in fact, it's very common around the world. The following OECD countries have governments which partially own companies that are floated on the stock exchange. Austria, Belgium, Chile, the Czech Republic, Finland, France, Greece, Japan, Korea, Norway, Poland, Slovenia, Switzerland and United Kingdom. Unfortunately, the Labor Party model themselves on Albania, who don't have any of these sorts of companies.
Question number 2, Grant Robertson.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My question